Hey you guys, so guess what, I'm back with another hair tutorial, and this time bro hit me up. This is big bro asked me to put some highlights in, so I'm gonna show you guys my process and the method that I use doing so. But of course he came to me, he already had his hair old for about like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and that's the best result you want to do before dyeing your hair. Please do not wash your hair. So I'm taking down his hair, his cornrows that he had in for quite a while now, and he did a pretty good job because his hair was moisturized from the buildup of keeping the braids in. So I felt really comfortable. Plus he doesn't have any dye in his hair prior to this step. He has he's what we would call virgin hair, so he has no dye in his hair, he has no color, he has never permed his hair, none of that. So this was an easy transition to do. You definitely want to consult your colorist or your beautician before doing this step, if you already dyed your hair, if you have perm in your hair, because you want to make sure you prevent further damage. So right now I am splitting his hair off in sections. You guys know you can control the steps if you section it off. So I just split his hair off in 4 corners, but I'm going to leave the back loose because this is how my parting process starts. So the reason for why I left the back out is because I'm going to start parting in a diagonal line. So I'm going to start by diagonally parting the very bottom part of his hair, as you can see, from the right side, and then when it's time for me to do the left side, then I'm going to part diagonal from the actual left side and then comb out, and then that's where I'm going to start actually picking out the highlights, and I'll show you guys how I do that. But before we get into that, I actually have to prep the actual dye itself. So the items you're going to need is some gloves. As you can see, I got these from the beauty supply. It doesn't matter what type of gloves you use. I'm using latex free because I'm allergic to it. And then you want your bowl and your brush for the dye. You can get some aluminum foil pieces. I didn't like these aluminum foil pieces, but I'll let you guys know a little later in the video why I should just got the regular aluminum pieces. But that's what I got from the beauty supply. So of course I'm going to protect my hands because that dye definitely burns if you leave it on your hands for too long. So today, you guys, I am going in with the Dark and Lovely 384, and that is the light golden blonde dye. All of the contents that you need, the powder that boosts and lift the hair, all of that is inside the box. There's no need to buy anything extra. Everything comes in this actual dye kit, and so I'm just going to cut everything open and pour it right into the bowl. Once I pour everything in the bowl, when you get to the powdery substance, make sure you blend that very well, because you want to make sure that's blended before you add the last step, which is the actual liquid part. But I was not able to show it here on the video, that last little bottle, but just make sure you read all of the directions to the T. Make sure you blend that powder out that I'm putting in here very well, and you'll be just as good. So as a disclaimer, you guys, I am not a hair colorist or a professional hairstylist. So just to let you know, I am just helping out big bro so we can put some highlights in his hair and have a good time. But he already know this, so let's get right into it. Next, after I put everything in the bowl, make sure that you guys have a mask or something, because that powder is super strong. He didn't even know it was going to be strong. He had to use his towel to cover his face. So I'm just prepping everything to get ready. The first strand in the back was very short, and it was a little bit difficult for you guys to see, but you're going to definitely need a rat tail comb. And so I'm going to grab the first piece, and we're going to take the rat tail comb, and I'm going to weave it through his hair to pull out the highlights. I want to get at least 4 to 5 strands of hair to be colored so it can show really good. And so once I separate that piece, you can see I put the rest of it down, and I comb that down separate, and then we're going to get the comb, and we're going to, in the middle of the hair, push the rest of his hair, the loose strands, up into his scalp. This is going to give a balayage highlight, meaning it will look like the highlight is literally growing from out of his hair, so he won't have such a harsh, blunt line into his scalp where the color is coming out. And so you're going to start from the midpoint of the highlight, and then I'm going to push the color into that bush that I've created by pushing his hair back into his root, if you guys understand. But no worries, I'm going to give you guys another demonstration so you'll get this thing down to the T. So then I'm grabbing my aluminum foil piece, and I'm going to take the hair and I'm going to place it lightly into the foil. I'm trying to get it to the foil part and not the plastic part, and then you're going to close that up as tight as you can by folding the pieces in the sides and then the bottom, so that heat can create from the aluminum foil and it can start turning that color. And so on the left side, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to take that rat tail comb and we're going to weave it through. And I'm going to get at least about 4 to 5 strands depending on how wide the piece of hair that I section out. And then we're going to separate that, put the rest of it down, combing that downward out the way. And then we're going to push that hair into the scalp so we can get that balayage look. We want the hair to look like the color literally is growing out of his scalp. And so we're going to get the color, brush the color in midway and start pushing it up to the root. Grab the aluminum foil, place that on there and make sure you seal that aluminum foil up. So another thing I want to make sure that I specify, as you can see, I did another part after I finished that last one. But this is the one that I'm going to part and leave a section alone. And then the next section that I part, I'm going to go back into weaving out the highlight. So you want to make sure you leave a gap. So we did the aluminum foil on the first one. So now I'm going to section out a piece and part diagonal again. And then I'm going to separate that piece, and that piece we're not going to touch. And then the one that I have in my hand, that's where we're going to weave the actual rat tail comb through it. So to sum it up, we're going to do every other piece is what I'm basically saying. So you do this kind of helps it where he won't have so much of his hair highlighted. I always say it's better to start off with smaller pieces than to do a whole bunch of highlights. And if he want in the future, he want more, he can come back and I'll place some more in there. But it's always great to start off with a little and then work your way up to it, instead of you put a whole bunch of highlights in your hair and you end up not liking it at all. So this was a safe way so that I know that he'll end up liking the look and it won't be too much all at once. And so as you can see, you guys, I'm parting that piece right there that I'm not going to touch at all, and that is going to be the every other piece that I won't touch. And then I'm going to part another section out, and this is the actual piece that I am going to actually weave the rat tail comb through. And again, we're doing this because we want to make sure that he don't have too much of his hair highlighted, because it can be a little bit much if it's every single piece of hair. And so once we push that rat tail comb through, you want to comb it out, make sure it's straightened. You want to bob it through that actual section of hair. I'm trying to get at least about 4. For the most part, I was able to get just maybe about 4 pieces out of each piece of hair that I parted. You're going to separate it. Again, you're going to push that hair into that scalp. That is going to allow you to get that look where it's growing out of the scalp and not such a blunt. And so, you know, I'm placing the color from the middle part, and then I'm going to slickly push it into the root so it can have like a balayage look. And you're going to make sure you just repeat this for each piece that you're doing. Put that aluminum foil on there and then close it up. Just make sure that you got it sealed up real good so that no air can get in there, so the color can transition really good. Okay, so now we're working our way to the front. This one done fell asleep, y'all. This is so hilarious. So working on the front, you're going to make sure that, again, we're going to part. As you can see, I already did one, but we're going to part and leave that one be. And you're going to comb that away, and that's the piece we're not going to touch. But then you're going to also section out another piece, and then that's the one we're going to weave the rat tail comb through. So it's the same thing that we did in the back. It's just that I separated the front so that it'll be easy, so that we'll be actually able to kind of maneuver through in a certain direction. So this way, when he put his hair down, the color will flow from the shape of his face and not necessarily just all over the place. All right, you guys, so I'm just going to kick back and let you guys watch the technique as I do it, and then I'll jump back in when it's time to go to the next step. All right, you guys. So as you can see, he looked like the Tin Man head. Okay. And as you can see, you see where I have gaps in there. So it's not like the foil is everywhere. It's literally spaces in between there. And that is so we won't have too many highlights in his hair. So after we're done, I kept this in for about 45 minutes to maybe about an hour. I want to say I kept it in there about an hour, but I made sure I kept checking. So as you can see, it turned out very good. The ones to the back, you always want to start from the back of your head and then work your way to the front, because again, the back of your hair, you want to make sure that part change first and then work your way to the front. But I definitely left it in there for about an hour, and as you can see, it do have different varies of color, but it still came out really, really good, and he definitely loved it. So I was excited about that. So I'm going to just slowly pull all of the foil out of his hair. And then once we get done with that, I can go right into washing and doing all that good stuff. So now it's time to wash and condition his hair. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to submerge his hair in lukewarm water, and we're just going to make sure that we rinse out whatever left of the dye that's in his hair, and make sure we get the back, the front, all that good stuff before we go in with the shampoo. So the next step that we're going to use as far as the shampoo, I'm going to use Shimmer Lights blonde and silver shampoo. You can get this shampoo at your local beauty supply, or if you can't get it there, you can definitely get it from Sally's Beauty Supply. That's where I got mine, and this is going to help get rid of the brassiness from the actual turning of your hair from going from black to now blonde. It's going to cancel out a lot of the brassiness in his hair. But with this shampoo, you want to leave in only for the time frame that it tells you to leave in, which is about 5 minutes, because you don't want your hair to turn purple. So make sure you follow directions on the back of the shampoo to the T. I definitely left this in his hair for only about 5 minutes, and then I rinsed it out to continue to the conditioner process. So me and him both were super excited, because even with the purple shampoo, you guys, you can definitely see the highlights, and they look so nice, so cute. I mean, well, for man language, they look bossy, you know, they look flat, but they look so hot. It looks like a balayage look. It doesn't look like it's a blunt color on his scalp. It looks like it just fades out into the highlight, and that is the look that I was going for, and it came out so nice. So I'm just rinsing out the shampoo after 5 minutes, and next I'm going to grab the conditioner that came with the actual dye. So the same conditioner that's in the packet, you're going to get that conditioner and you're going to put that right into your hair after you rinse out the shampoo. And then I'm going to get one of the, what is it called, plastic caps that you get from the beauty supply, and you're going to leave that on your scalp. Sit it probably by, I think, when I say I left it in there for about 10 minutes and let his hair just, you know, put all the nutrients, the conditioner back into his hair, and then we're going to rinse this out right after. And so this is the end result, you guys. It came out so good. The color is through and through, as you can see. It's color everywhere, but it's not a lot. It's just enough where he sees the color. I told him he could have just easily put like a curl activator in there, put his ponytail in, threw his glasses on. He'd been good to go, but he liked his braids. So no worries, you guys. I'm going to show you guys how his hair looked with his braids and his actual style. All right, you guys, this is it. This is his braid style. You can see it even in his braid pattern. When you're up close, you really see the color come out really well. And so this is it. If you like this type of video, make sure you hit a thumbs up. You might see more videos like this in the future. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you know every time I put out a video. And until next time, you guys, bye.